Because one of the advantages I have is that I am old. And Swami often says, old is gold. And therefore you are willing to pass over any faults or failings, old man. And I've also got a good excuse for forgetting. The power to forget is a very important acquisition. Just as memory, forgetting also is a very important quality. If you remember everything that has happened to you, it will be a calamity. It will be a terrible burden. And about old men, I always like this. Yeats, the Irish poet, has written, an aged man is but a paltry thing, not very much valued. As a matter of fact, some people have come to me and said, when they know that my daughter is looking after me, they say, what? In Germany or in some other countries in the West, nobody would care for you. Let me put into an aged home. And in India, old people are considered as a good treasure and looked after by some relative, if not daughter, uncle's daughter, or father-in-law's grandson. Anybody. So there is that feeling of kinship and a feeling of responsibility, at least to look after old people. But this Yeats says, an aged man is but a paltry thing, a tattered coat upon a stick. A tattered coat upon a stick. Unless, if you have not that, you are simply a tattered coat upon a stick, a paltry thing. But unless soul clap its hands and sing, the soul of the old man must clap its hands and sing, and louder sing. Not only sing, but louder sing, for every tatter in its mortal dress. Of course, the old man must have had a number of tatters, must have received so many blows, must have passed through so many accidents and troubles and disappointments, and each one is a tatter upon his coat. But when a tatter happens, when something like that happens, If he claps his hands and sings, hello, oh, fate has treated me badly. That means the gods remember my existence. If you've got a headache, you must be thankful that it reminds us that you have got a head. So also, if you get a tatter in your coat, if something happens to you which you don't like, it means that in Indian philosophy, it means that you are working out your karma. And the sooner you do it, the better. Or it may be that God, just like the book of Job, that God pays some attention to you and that He knows of your existence and that He wants to test you and He wants to improve you. And He puts you in a cauldron and removes your alloy, and the sooner He does it, the better. And the better He does it, the gladder you are. So unless soul clap its hands and sing, and louder sing for every tatter in its mortal dress. Nor is that singing, nor is there singing school. If clapping your hands and singing when anything that you don't like happens to you, if that is worthwhile, have you got any school where we can learn how to sing when we get these tatters? Nor is there singing school, but studying, you must be able to study monuments of its own magnificence. You study a monument of its own magnificence. The soul must study. There is no school. There are only examples. There are only ideals. There are only persons. There are only phenomena of magnificence. So the soul's magnificence. How magnificent can a human soul be? If you are able to study that and learn from that, then old age is worthwhile. Then every tatter is a lesson in fortitude, in sadhana, it is a step towards God. That is what Yeats has got to say. And what greater monument of magnificence of the soul can we have than Baba himself? So I always congratulate myself that though I am old and a tattered coat upon a stick, I have been able to clap my hands and sing whenever tatter happens on my coat. And how did I learn to sing? The school, studying the monument of its magnificence. Here is a magnificent monument of soul inspiration. And because fate has, or rather Baba has drawn me near him, I've been able to study that magnificence. And I'm putting up with all the tatters because it is not a tatter, but it is a pat on the back. It is a pinch in the cheek. A loving reminder of the existence of the parent when the mother twitches your cheek. There are pains, but comfortable, reassuring. Now, Baba is unique in that respect. That is why we say he is an avatar. He is not a teacher, he is not a prophet, he is not a... Many people ask me, what does Swami say about the disarmament talks that are going to happen between Reagan, between Gromyko and Schultz next month? What is he? He is not an astrologer. Don't ask me about it. He has come for certain purposes, for which we must be thankful if we are instruments. Now, what are the purposes for which he has come? He has announced why this avatar has happened. Probably when he was addressing a vast audience, packed audience, in the Purnachandra auditorium some years ago, he must have felt the yearning in the minds of the people who were before him. You know, before he addresses the audience, he gets down, moves among them, goes all round the whole place, and what he probably does, because he need not, but what he probably does is to get the sense, to sense the uppermost thought that activates the people who are sitting there. And probably when he went that day, he must have felt some yearning that some people had very prominently in their minds as to why is he called Avatar? Why has God come down among men? How does he believe that it is possible for him to do his work with us as his instruments? It takes a great deal of courage to believe that you and I can be instruments in his work, that we can be molded. We have resisted molding all these years, and we have insisted upon our own peculiarities and idiosyncrasies and prejudices. And here comes a phenomenon who says, come along, I'll make you messengers of my mission, messengers of my purpose. God alone can have that faith. Anyway, that day he announced some of the purposes for which he has come. And because I'll read the Telugu so that at least you can hear Telugu. Yugadharma paddhatul vigalitamai nayamargamuna trippi nadapu koraku. Koraku means for this purpose. And you get a series of korakus. For this, for this, for this, for this. The first one is Yuga Dharma Paddhatu. Every yuga, or every stage in human history, every era, so to say, has got its own problems. And they have got to be met by a set of reactions and responses. And they have got to be suffered and sustained and corrected by certain new approaches. Every new situation requires a new approach. And we have got this present age is what is called the Kali Yuga in Indian scriptures. Or it may be, as Swami Vivekananda has said, you have got first in human history, we have got the Brahmin as the predominant maker of the times. That is to say, theological. That is to say, the priest. That is to say, the medicine man and the druid and other. The religious person was considered as the example, the exemplar, the leader, and everything according to him. Theocratic, you can say. That is the Brahmin age. Then we have got the Kshatriya age, the warriors, the great conquerors, Alexander and others, trying to eat up the earth more and more. Earth hunger. And riding over boundaries of kingdoms, slaughtering Attila the Hun, Timur Lane, people who spread terror and fear and in their pride and their greed, the Kshatriyas. Then we have got the Vaishyas, the merchant group, those who go from continent to continent. Trade follows the flag. The traders, the hunters of markets, those who want to dump their products upon unwilling people, try to multiply their wants by means of advertisements. It's not a question of demand and supply, but we supply and you demand it. You have got to demand it. We'll make you demand it. We'll make you feel that without this, life is not worthwhile. And therefore, and we'll give it to you by installments. You don't want it by totally. So we all live on installments now. That is the Vaishya, the traders, the multinationals, all those who want to spread their tentacles all over the world in search of profit, in search of trade. And to protect the trader, the others. That is one stage. The last stage, the present stage, is the Shudra, that is to say the worker, the laborer, the farmer, their trade unions, their strikes, their demand for something more. They are able to move governments. They are able to decide the fate of nations. The common man has become a very uncommon man now, because his hunger is increasing. His level of standard of life has got to be as high as the highest of the country. So this is the age of the Shudra, as Vivekananda has said. And therefore, every age has got a new dharma. And Swami says, I have come when the dharma of this particular age, of this particular situation in the world, has become weak. People don't know what exactly is the moral code, the method of life, the ideal of life that must be placed before the community or the society for this particular age. And because they don't know it, I have come in order to tell them about the special, what is right at the present moment for the present situation. And he says, Nayamargamuna trippi nadapukoru. And tell them not as the previous avatars. Rama came with a bow and arrows, inexhaustible arrows. And when the sea refused to give place for him to build a bridge across to the island in which his wife had been kidnapped. He drew the thing and said, "Come on, I'll dry you up." And the poor sea came and said, "Excuse me, I will yield." But then the trouble was, he had put the arrow upon the bow. And it can't be wasted. It must be released. You can't put the arrow back again into the quiver. It has got to be operated. So Rama said, "What am I to do? You have now yielded." And then he just, it seems, he shot it back and it fell in the Ran of Kutch. We have got in Gujarat, between Gujarat and Pakistan, a long area of the sea coast which is more slush and which is not deep, which is not navigable, and which is full of all kinds of marshy area and bogged with slush and all that. A huge area is there, and that was the place where this arrow fell. So drying up that ocean there, it has got to be dried up. So that is the determination of Rama. So Rama had a bow. Krishna had various other instruments, but Swami has come with a smile. That is the weapon with which he conquers. So Nayamargamuna, I want to instruct people in the code of morals that they have got to observe to improve the present situation softly and sweetly. Nayamargamuna, by good words. That's why Swami has said, "I am a teacher." There is another poem in which he recited, in which he said, "I am a Satyabodhaka, I am a teacher of truth." He has come as a teacher. And he teaches so softly and sweetly, because we are all pupils, and the teacher can't deal cruelly with us, because he will run away. And so he has got to get us all together and smile upon us, the cool moonlight, so that we will imbibe also more. If you create fear, then you will run away, and you won't learn lessons. So it is, Swami has said that he is treating us, he is giving us his message like the mother feeding the child. And the Indian mothers, they have got a method of feeding the child. I am not a mother, but I have been fed like that, and so I can say how they do it. They take the, say, little rice and milk or curds mixed together nicely, and then they carry the child upon the hip, and then they have the thing, and then they feed the child as they move around the garden or the house. But the child refuses to eat. It will shake its head and say no. So Swami once demonstrated on the platform how he was feeding the child. That is how he is feeding us. The mother will say, "Look at that crow." And the crow says, "Ka, ka, ka." And the child says, "Ka." So draw its attention somewhere else. Make it feel that it is not being fed at all. Make it feel that it is a very pleasant thing. In the intervals between a story and another. He tells a story. He sings a song. He sings a bhajan. By all these methods, your attention is distracted. Meanwhile, you are being given the most sustaining type of food. So, Nayamargamuna Trippi. So, Swami points out that I am not like the other avatars who came armed to kill, but he has come to deal with you softly and sweetly. That is the first purpose for which he has come. Because each age requires a new teacher. The old lesson, no doubt, but you've got more teaching aids now. And the method of teaching also is different. In the old days when I was a student of the schools, the teacher was armed with a cane. A cane. That was the teaching aid. And if you've got a school as your neighboring building, then you can hear the swish of the cane over the backs of all the students. Isn't it? Swami says that when he was in this village school, everybody who comes late to class, late to school, first, all right. Second, all right. Third, all right. The fourth will be punished with 4 beatings by the cane. Fifth, 5. Six. And if you don't answer a question in class, he will be made to stand, and he who is able to answer the question has got the privilege of giving a slap on the cheeks. They will all be made to stand in a line, and the fellow who is intelligent enough to answer the question will be able to beat slap the cheeks of all the other boys. And Swami always had that privilege. But Swami says, how could I beat those children? How could I slap those innocent fellows? Simply because they don't know the answer to a question, to be beaten like that. So Swami always, he beats, of course, slaps, but it will be so smooth. It will be like applying cream. And the teacher will be watching the vigor and the power with which he is slapping. And Swami says, because his heart won't allow him to give a strong slap to the cheeks of his own classmates and boys of the same village. So he will say, come along, I'll tell you, I'll show you how to beat those fellows. Come here. And Swami was given slaps on the cheek by the teacher. Beat them like that. And he used to suffer that. That was the punishment. So, in the old avatars, armed to kill, this avatar, Nayamargamuna Trippi, change their behavior, change their conduct by simple, soft, sweet means. That is one koraku. You know, remember what's meant by koraku? For this. Second koraku. Lokamul kalilo kallolamai chediyunda nishkalmashamu chesi nilupu koraku. Now, the world, Swami is speaking about the world. The world has become full of kalaha, that is full of factions, and therefore restless. This is the age of anxiety, the age of fear, the age of sleeplessness, the age of sleeping pills. Otherwise you won't get sleep. But the restlessness and anxiety on account of factions. He makes a pun upon that. This is called Kali Yuga. The Swami says it is Kalaha Yuga. Kalaha means factions, parties, fighting. The world has become ruined by these factions. Therefore, and why does it happen? Because the heart is polluted. Pollution of the heart. So in order to remove the pollution in men's hearts, which reduces them to this ridiculous position of dividing themselves into factions and fighting. That is another purpose for which I have come. That is, what is the balm with which he is going to remove this pollution of the heart, the spreading of the message of love. Love is the balm. Love your neighbor, because the neighbor is yourself. Not love thy neighbor as thyself. Love thy neighbor, because you are your neighbor. You are your neighbor. He is not different from you. Your life depends upon your neighbor. If his child gets measles, your child will get it tomorrow. If he cultivates hatred, that vibration will affect you also. So unless he is a good man, you can't be a good man. Unless his family is healthy, your family can't be healthy. You are bound together. You are your neighbor. And therefore, and also philosophically and scripture, and according to the scriptures, all are the same. All are parts of the one. So, in order to remove these factions that are creating anxiety at the present time in the world, I have come in order to remove the pollution of the heart. You must have heard this statement, war is made in the minds of men. So in the minds of men are polluted. And that pollution is to be removed by the balm of love. And I have come for that. Then, a third purpose, good men. Durmarga badhulai krungi deenatanundu sadhu samrakshana salapu korapu. I am reading that because you won't be satisfied unless I read that korapu. There must be one more korapu coming. What happens is, good men, there are good men. And these people suffer because they are surrounded by bad men, surrounded by wickedness. Poor fellows, they can't even breathe. They suffocate in this atmosphere. They are so few. And the flood of hatred threatens to carry them off their feet. So they are saying, oh God, is there no one to save us? Is this our fate, that we are born in this place, that we are grouped as this group or that group? Have we no help? Is there no Savior? Is there no God? So good men everywhere are clamoring for support or crying out for somebody saving them. And I have come in order to assure them that they will get succor, that they need not despair, that there is someone who is interested in their welfare. You know, there is individual good men. I must have told some of you at least the story of a student, a girl student in San Diego, living in the international house attached to San Diego University. And the lady in charge, Muriel Engels, had written to me this story of somebody living in the 10th floor or so, alone in one room. The whole building was occupied by students from various nations, and she was one. And she suffered from arthritis. And at about 10 o'clock one night, when everybody had gone to sleep, 10 or 11, she got tremendous pain. And she said, she shouted for help. Is there no one? Is there no one to help me? Anyone? Come, anyone come for my help. Anyone. You see, she shouted like that because she didn't know who the next room or this room or the top flat or the ground flat, didn't know them. And so she simply called on anyone. Here is a innocent student, helpless girl, shouting for help. Anyone. Is there no one? Anyone. If you have got no one, this is the one. And Muriel Angels wrote to me, the door was bolted, she was on their bed, crying in agony, and Swami walked in. She didn't know anything about Swami. Red robe, afro hair. That is the signature tune. Inimitable. Swami walked in. She says, a red-robed person came and stood by my bed and said, "Why do you shout so loud?" That is remarkable. To call on Swami, you need not shout loud. You can even whisper. You can even pray in the silence of your heart. Imagine that situation. Why do you shout so loud? And what did she shout for? Anyone. And here is the one. And Baba, it seems, and created vibhuti and applied it to her forehead and then patted her as a mother pats a child to go to sleep. And she had no pain and she slept off and he disappeared. Next morning she went to Muriel Angels, the director of that institute, international hostel, and said, "Look here, last night when I shouted like this, some guy what a word, that guy. Walked in and he put something on my forehead. And I slept. And Muriel looked at it. Ah, that is Vibhuti. And it is Sai Baba. Did he have an orange gown? Yes. And if, yes, quite big. That is what happens. So in this Koraku, what does he say? When good men surrounded by the wicked cry out for God, cry out for help in order to protect them and save them. That is one of the purposes for which I have come. So the last line is Avatarinchenu, avatar. I have come down. Avatarinchenu, Achyutudu. I am Achyuta. Achyuta is one of the names of God in Sanskrit. It means he who is not diminishable. He doesn't suffer diminution. Unchanging, permanent, eternal. That is Achyutudu. Avatarinchenu Achyutudu Partiyandu. Parti is Puttaparti. So this Achyuta has taken avatar at Parti. Vasudevakya. I am the very person who is known in the Bhagavatam as Vasudeva. Vasudevakya Sri Hari Vasudha Shauri. That is how it ends. For this purpose, Achyuta, that is the unchanging divinity, has taken shape and is born in Parti. Now, this is another purpose, to save good men from damnation. Then, another, which is a very rare purpose. These other avatars have said all these, or we can attribute all these, that to teach the dharma that must be followed in a particular situation, to remove the pollution that affects people's minds and creates disaster in the world, to protect the good. All these three is all right. The fourth one is unique so far as Baba is concerned. And that is Bhashyartha Guptamul Paluku Koraku. Kala Sandigdha Nigraha Suktulai Undu Bhashyartha Guptamul Paluku Koraku. On account of the passage of time and the multiplicity of commentaries, person, when he makes a commentary, you know the big quarrel that has divided Christianity into saying, was Christ and the Father of the same essence, or are they of different essences? You see, essentially is the Son, essentially the Father, or different? So there was a big council of Nicaea. All the bishops joined together. And somebody said, yes, they are the same. He who makes any difference between the Father and the Son is an outcast. The others said, no. How can the Son be the same as the Father? There must be little difference. And so it all depends on a diphthong, they say. Now, factions, grammarians come and spoil the whole thing. Linguists. So each commentator, the trouble is, even with all research, even in science, what happens is you discover what you want to discover. You see what you would like to see. And therefore Swami has once said, you must investigate into the process of investigation itself. Because the process of investigation, you are led to certain conclusions which are very pleasing to you. Because it is unpleasant, you won't look that side. you will avoid it and try to overcome it. So, commentators have confused. The original words are simple, but they have been made complex by these commentators who try to introduce into it all their scholarships. And therefore, scriptures have lost their pure original meaning. I have come to reveal the original meanings, the inner significance of all the scriptures. This is something new so far as Swami is concerned, because the world outlook itself is new. And then the usual purpose of all avatars. You saw in that drama the other day, Christmas drama, Mother Earth coming, a little child, and coming and complaining, oh, the world is ruined, God, you must come again. And then all the series started. So that child coming with so much of agony and falling at the feet of the Lord of the world and saying, you must save. I can't bear this burden. It seems it is the burden. A wicked man is heavier than a good man. And therefore, on account of wickedness and cruelty and factions and hatred, I can't bear this burden. Please remove this burden. That is the cry. And Swami says, I have come in order to save the earth from the burden which she is suffering from. Now, Rama also came for that purpose. And how did he remove the burden? Krishna also. Swami, how does he remove the burden? The weight that the earth is carrying? Well, I have got an explanation. He cuts us down to size. Therefore, weight is reduced. Because Swami doesn't like fat people. The first advice, by ridicule and by laughter, and he tries to reduce our sizes. Eat less. He doesn't like fat people because they are burden upon the earth. And another thing is swelled heads. Pricks, swelled heads. Will this happen? So there was a big officer, VIP, who was coming from somewhere 300 miles off, the south of India. And he wrote to me a letter. Not only a letter, but he sent me his program. Arrival at Bangalore, as if I must begin to shiver when he comes to Bangalore. Arrival at Bangalore 8:30. And then by car he comes to Penukonda, 20 miles off. Arrival at Penukonda. So I must dress myself up in his nightie and collect all the good adjectives that I know so that I might welcome him and give him a warm handshake when he comes here. And then arrival at Prasanthi Nilayam. And the big man comes. And he came. And he came in his car. And he looked around. Nobody had anticipated his coming. Where is that Kasturi to whom Then Then he thought that there was nobody here. But they were all sitting, hundreds of people, silently. So he came in. And Swami called him into the interview room. He and his wife. And he said, "You came, three of you. Where is the other person?" "No, Swami, only myself and my wife." "No, there was a third person." "Yes, oh, he is a chokra. He's a boy who, you see, when we came in the car, if we go to a hotel or something, we wanted someone to be looking after the car. So a boy, he's a boy that we got, a servant boy. He's a chokra. Huh? Should he not see me? Go and get the chokra." And poor fellow, I was sitting in the veranda and he wanted to tell me to bring the chokra. Because he was always used to command somebody to do his work for him. And he ran all round the place. The chokra was in some tea shop. And unless he brought the chokra, Swami did not give him anything. Swelled head. There's another case. Somebody from Madras, state president of Madras, came to Bangalore. His wife's sister was in Bangalore. So they came over here. The two sisters, ladies going alone in a car from Bangalore to this place, must have some mail. So they asked the gardener, "Hey gardener, we are going to Puttaparthi. Are you coming?" No. He was so happy because he had peeped through the window when Swami had gone to their house, and he had touched the ground upon which he had placed his feet, and he was so devoted that he said, "All right, I'll come in 1 hour." So he went to some Dobi's place, got freshly washed clothes of somebody, and that's what they do. That's what they do in a hurry. So he dressed himself nicely and college. He came. Then, "Where are you going?" "Puttaparthi." "I am coming." So the son came, and the poor fellow with the borrowed clothes was left at Bangalore. Swami was just passing this way to some place, and the car came and they got down, and then they asked Swami why they have come, and Swami asked them, and then they said yes. "Oh, that's all right." So the problem was solved as soon as they got down from the car, and they simply went back. Swami went round to the women's side and asked Dr. Jayalakshmi, "Where are those people who came from Bangalore? Where are they?" "Well, they have left." "Where are they? The Dr. Sundar's people?" And Dr. Jayalakshmi, she is a good volunteer. She ran about all around the place and found that they were not there. They had come and gone. So she sent a telegram. "Baba wants you, asked for you." They had to start again for Puttaparthi. And the son said, "No, I can't come. I can't give up college for 2 days. The other day I came, today I am not coming." So they said, "Gardener, come today." Meanwhile he had returned those clothes and he had to get another set. And he came. And then Baba said, "You disappointed." He came round to the women and said, "I wanted you back because you disappointed that gardener that day. I won't call you today. I'll call you only the gardener. Why did you disappoint him? Poor fellow, he was so anxious to come that day, and you brought your son instead. That is Baba. So, that is pricking the swollen head. So Baba reduces the burden of birth by cutting people to size and pricking swollen heads and making everyone as heavy as they ought to be. Nothing more. Then there is another statement that Swami makes. I have come in order to fulfill the promise that I made during the Rama avatar. During the Rama avatar, he had made a promise, and I have come to fulfill that. Now that was a problem for us. The whole Ramayana doesn't mention any promise that Rama had made. And Swami says, I have come for this, for this, for this, for this, and for fulfilling the promise I made during the Rama avatar. So a number of us put our heads together, but no spark of illumination came. So we went on a deputation to Swami himself and said, Swami, what is the promise you made in the Treta Yuga? Treta Yosagina Korkelu Tirchukoraku. In the Treta Yuga, I have made some promise, and in order to fulfill that I have come. What is the promise you made during the Rama avatar, Swami? Say, during Rama avatar, was in the battle. Many Rakshasas were killed. Almost all the Rakshasas were killed. The vow was, the promise was, I'll make the world free from Rakshasas. Rakshasa, I'll make the world. So yes, the whole lot of them. And it seems one or two who remained, they prayed to Rama, what is to happen to all these people? You have saved monkeys and bears, animals. But are these demons, Rakshasas, so bad that they are to be damned for eternity? Is there no hope for them? And then Swami said, it seems, come during Kali Yuga. Of course, you keep it confidential. That is the secret to the whole affair. And Swami also said, it seems, these Rakshasas have been so wicked. Usually, in our scriptures, the rishis were saved by simple sight. Rama passed through the forest, they all saw him and they were saved. And the Krishna avatar, the gopis, the cowherds, boys and girls, men and women, were saved by the touch. And he told these Rakshasas, you can't be saved by mere sight. You can't be saved by mere touch. You must have a triple cure. Darshan, sparshan, sambhashan. You must hear my words. So you must take something in, you must apply something for the skin, and you must also follow a certain regimen, diet. And I come during Kali Yuga, I am also coming to Puttaparthi. And I'll give you all three. You can see me, you can touch me, you can hear my voice. And all three together will save you. That is the promise I gave, and that's why I have come, and that is why we have also come. Doesn't matter. You were Rakshasas in some previous life. We must thank ourselves for it, because they are able to come, because he has drawn us near. Let us not be sorry that we were Rakshasas sometime. That is past. And Swami says, past is past. Don't worry over it. Don't look back at the road by which you have come. We have come through the Rakshasa road. Doesn't matter. But where are we now? Let us be happy over that. Jai Sai Baba. We repeat this Shanti 3 times. So 3 is not because 3 is a magic number, but it has got some significance. 3 times Om. 3 times Shanti. It refers to, we have got 3 types. Body, the gross body, the subtle body, the causal body, not the casual body, but the causal. So this body is a casual thing that we have acquired, and we might give it up and take another, and take another, and another. We are temporary residents of these bodies one after the other. So it is a casual body, nevertheless. But in this casual body we have 3, one inside the other. The gross, the subtle, and the causal. The body is supposed to be composed by 5 sheaths. The soul or the Atma is covered up by, as an onion, by, you can peel them off one by one. You have to, in order to reach the Atma. You've got the physical, the flesh and bone, and then the vital airs, then the mind, then the intellect, and then the bliss aspect, pure bliss, and the presiding deity in all these 5, that which circulates and prompts and moves, all these 5 is the Atma. These 5 sheets include the Atma. And these 5 sheets, the gross, is the physical, the subtle is the vital and the mental, and the causal is the Atma inside, with the bliss aspect. So we have got 3 Oms for arousing by its vibration these 3 bodies that we possess. And there is also another, this body of ours, or rather we migrate not only from one life to another, but every day we migrate from the waking stage to the dream stage and the deep sleep stage. We are migrating from one to the other. We are in the waking stage when, I suppose, all our senses are active, and I suppose our mind is active. Sometimes it is very dull, sometimes it is active in the wrong directions, but still it is active, the senses and the mind. And the intellect also is awake, and you are aware of things. That is the waking stage. Then we take our rest, lie down, and then we pass through a very interesting stage, the dream stage. Many things happen to us. When we travel all over the world, when we go back to our childhood, when we undergo various experiences, some of them pleasant, some of them unpleasant. But these dreams, at that time, we live in a world which is quite different from the waking stage world. Symbolisms, various structural patterns, all types of changes in reactions and responses. There the mind alone works. The senses don't work. The intellect is at abeyance. The mind alone, that is the dream stage. And then you come to the deep sleep stage, when not even the mind is working. The senses are not working. We are not aware of anything. We are happy. The happiest, we say after our sleep, fine sleep I had this. Beautiful sleep. I didn't know anything. So, probably you get happiness by not knowing anything. All our misery is caused by knowing about something, inquiring about something, getting disappointed, or getting excited, exulting. Nothing. I didn't know anything. I didn't know where I was, upon which I was sleeping. So much of confusion all around. I didn't know anything. I had no anger, I had no desire, I had no ambition, I had no disappointment, I had no achievement. Happy, very happy. But the only thing is, you say that you were happy when you were having deep sleep. But at the time of deep sleep, you don't feel any happiness. You don't know even that you had happiness. That is a pathetic case. Suppose you were aware that you were happy. Suppose you were you had Ananda in deep sleep, and you knew about it, and you were full of Ananda. Such happiness, such Ananda. It is only after you wake that you say, very beautiful sleep. But at that time, if we had known, it would have been worthwhile. And that time, if you know, always being conscious of your Ananda, that is the stage which we must reach. So, beyond the deep sleep stage, there is a higher stage in which we are aware of Ananda. In deep sleep, we are not even aware of Ananda. And what's the use of having Ananda without being aware of it? What's the use of having, say, £1 million in the bank but not being able to use it? You are not aware of it. You must be aware of the Ananda. Then all the life is worthwhile. And all these spiritual exercises are to make you aware of the Ananda that you really are. That core of Ananda that we are. Ananda, Anandena Ivani Bhutani Jayanti. We are born out of Ananda. We are Ananda. That's why Swami sometimes addresses us as Ananda Swarupulara, the Atma Swarupulara. You are not, say, excuse me, Tom, Dick and Harry, but you are Ananda. That is your real name. But you have forgotten that. And you have fixed all kinds of labels upon yourself, saying, who are you? I am Tom, I am Dick, I am Harry. No, you are Atma, you are Ananda Swarup. I was not aware of it. Make you aware that in the core of your personality, there is this great spring of Ananda. I remember I was in Whitefield one day. I was sitting along with a number of others and students, college students. And I was sitting in a corner and Swami was in the chair. This side there were college students. And this side those who were not admitted into the college, that is, all of us. But those who had got admission into Swami's college and those who had liked to get into Swami's college. So I was sitting there. And usually Swami will have some bhajan, those boys, and then will ask somebody to talk. That day he caught hold of me and he said, Kasturi, you say something? This way you press a button and then you say something. Because if Swami presses the button, you will say something. Right. And so I stood up there itself and started to speak. Then, of course, I am referring to this vibhuti that I am having here. So, seeing me, there was not much of light in that corner. The tube lights were a little this side. So he said, hey, you come under this lamp, otherwise they will think that you are having a bandage. Otherwise they will mistake it for a bandage. You are hurt and you have tied a big bandage. Then I came under the lamp and said, yes, it is a bandage to remove bondage. This vibhuti is a bandage. It reminds you You ask Swami why he applies the vibhuti. He gives two reasons. One is to remind you that you are after all only, you will be reduced to ash one day. That this body of which you are so proud will have to become ash. So, to remind yourselves of death that will overtake you at any time. Be prepared for death and the consequences of the actions that you are doing now. So the bondage to the body will be relieved if you remember the inevitability of death. Another thing is, of course, he applies it here because the Kundalini here is what is called the Ajna Chakra, the Commander-in-Chief's headquarters, so to say. Ajna Chakra. Orders are emanating from here. And when Swami touches that portion with a bit of himself, namely vibhuti, he creates the vibhuti. It is part of him. It is such a precious thing because it is he himself. It is a part of him, a projection from his own physical personality. And when he places that on this spot and touches that spot with his finger, it means he is increasing the vibrations of the serpent power, as they say, of the Kundalini or the yogic power, and so he activates that. So, this always being aware of death, aware of the preciousness of time, aware of the consequences of the thoughts, words and deeds that we do, even the slightest thought or the slightest act has got its effect. Nothing will be lost. And it is that accumulated effect of the thoughts, words and deeds in all these three stages, not only the waking, the dreaming, the sleeping stage, or the gross, the subtle or the causal body. All these have got to be purified. All these have got to be charged with spiritual power. And that is why we say Om thrice, to charge the three bodies and the three states of daily life. Charge them with spiritual power. And Shanti is, say, balance, tranquility, not affected by ups and downs. The other day, Swami was in his preliminary song with which he starts his discourse. He surprised everyone by revealing one aspect of his personality. That is, he said, Chinta Cherchanatanchu Santasinchidaremo Ventane Yadavada Chinta Kalabu. Are you excited? Are you pleased because I have allowed you to come near me? The next moment I will create a fear in you that I will push you afar. What is that? They are kind. don't be too happy that I am allowing you near me, that I am allowing you to imagine that you are close to him, that you have been his pet, his favorite, that he loves you more than anyone else, that he has allowed you to come near him. Chinta Cherchana, I allowed you to come near. Santasinchudaremo, are you very glad and happy about that? Ventane, immediately, I will create fear in you that you will be pushed away. Then, Pogudutunnadani Pungipoyadaremo, I praise you, and you become go to the top of the sky. Is that so? I will ridicule you the very next moment. Abhayamicharani. Swami, we say this, if he holds his hand like that, some pictures you have, and we think, we call that picture Abhaya, fearless, don't fear when I am here. That's usual. If you go to the shops and want that picture, then you call them, you ask for the Abhaya picture, the Abhaya pose. This is the pose. Because according to iconography, the science of making idols, according to iconography, this is the Abhaya posture. When the idol in some temple has got that pose, it means you needn't fear. I shall protect you. That is the, don't fear. But Swami says, because Swami has given me Abhayam, he has shown me this. It's all right. I am with you, I am with you. Don't fear. If he says, Abhayamicharane hai gundarayam. So, all right. Oh, Swami will. He has said, don't fear. So, 70 miles speed, car. Don't fear. Swami is there. And what happened was that I was inside the car, and it went round and round down a hill. Because, of course, Swami had given me Abhayam, but 80 miles speed, car. I was in East Africa. We were going in a car just behind Swami's car, about 10 minutes behind Swami's car. And then I had a friend who was in the car along with me, who was encouraging the driver. And when one truck was going this way, another truck was coming from that side, and there was just a little gap through which you could go. He would tell the driver, you can make it. And that made him a speed fiend, so to speak. So that's at one turning, the whole thing. So I was rolled inside, I and my friend. So, Abhayam, Swami has given Abhayam. So if you are careless, if you say, oh, Swami has given me, he has said, don't fear, I am with you. So Swami is with me. If you feel like that, I will give you a great big, give you some disaster. And I won't talk to you at all. You come saying, Swami, no, He passes this way, he passes the other way. He goes that way, he comes this way. Like that, about half a dozen statements are there in which he writes this. But why? Why is he playing with us like that? Because he also says, do you think? Then you might say, oh, this Swami takes delight in giving us pain, takes delight in putting us into trouble. Do you think like that? Immediately, I'll make you laugh until your sides burst. Now and then, off and on, your stomach will burst, sides will burst. That is my character. Why? Why does he take so much trouble with us, drawing us near, pushing us far? He could as well leave us alone. Why all this bother for the avatar? Having come down. Why all this bother? Why drag you near and push you far? Why make you weep and console you by making you laugh? Why say don't fear, and then when you are in trouble, not stop it all? He says, why? That also comes in that poem. That he says, I am churning you. By this process, I want to churn you to get the butter that I like. You know, as Krishna, he used to love butter, fresh butter, fragrant butter, not artificial butter or peanut butter. So, and butter is got by churning. And churning process cannot be all one way. Because in Indian homes, even today, in the canteen, for example, you will find somebody having a big pot of milk that has been curdled, and you've got a rod, turning rod, which has got a number of leaves, and it will be drawn this way and that, drawing this and then drawing this. So it will go on stirring the thing. And then the butter will come on top. So you got to churn. And how do you churn? You got to draw a person near and push the person far. Draw a person near, push the person far. Tell him that he need not fear, give him opportunities to fear. Make him weep, make him laugh. That way you churn. Manasu Marulu Golpi, he says your mind, I will curdle your mind. You will get awfully confused. And that's what happens. Ought to happen. And Manasu Marulu Golpi, Mathana is churning. So I will churn your mind. This, that. alternate. And you must also know that these are only two sides of the same coin. You can't escape. Pleasure is only an interval between two pains. So there must be pain, there must be pleasure. There is pain, there is pleasure. That is the education that you have come to get in this world. This world is a world of dualities. It is not all, every rose has got a thorn. So it is not all happiness. That you enjoy happiness when you pass through misery. And both misery and happiness are educators, tougheners. They toughen you. They make you, they round you up. They chisel you. They say that a rolling stone gathers no moss. It may not gather moss, but the rolling stone will become rounder and rounder. If the stone rolls down, then all the angularities will be broken off, and it will become rounder and rounder, rounder and rounder. That is the rolling stone. Need not gather moss. Why gather moss? Become round. So when we are rolled down the corridors of time and hits this side and that side, hitting, chiseling, then you become Manasu Marulvarthu Matanapet. And that is what Swami says. That is what Swami does. And that's what we ought to yield. Go on, do it. I have a letter here. I came to India in February this year and had the pleasure of staying in Puttaparthi for a month. During my visit, of course, he says he had the pleasure of meeting me. That means he's a person of good manners. However, before I visited Puttaparthi, I was very doubtful about my visit, whether I can go to Puttaparthi or not. But Swami says, no one can come to Puttaparthi unless I call him. I make it possible for them to come. So, I was very doubtful about my visit. I was not sure if I was good enough to visit the place. Good enough to visit the place. Sometimes, if you are bad enough, you might be caught. It's not always a question of being good enough. Because, you know, the avatar comes to punish the wicked and to reward the good. And Swami has said that this time it is not punishing the wicked, it is to remove the wickedness. There is no punishing. If a tree is affected by white ants, in old days, in previous avatars, the tree was cut. But this avatar is so kind that it removes the white ants and allows the tree to live. Because if you start cutting, there won't be any tree left. That's what he says. The old avatars, you could identify the people who had to be destroyed. But now, the whole world, everyone is afflicted. And so, the avatar comes on account of the bad as well as the good, to reward the good and to reform the bad. So, this idea that this person has, I don't know whether I was good enough. Swami doesn't care to find out whether a person is good enough to come or bad enough to come. He calls both. He calls all those who need him. Swami says, if you need me, you deserve me. Other matters are not important. If you need me, then you deserve me. That is all. If you call out for me, oh God, if you say, that's what happened to Drucker, who has been talking to you, I suppose. Drucker also is one of the people who are empowered to torture you. There are about 4 people, specially selected. And what happened to Drucker? He was somewhere in California, of course, and he saw a clear blue sky, and he belonged to the naval aerial service, air service. So he old desire to fly aloft and see the scenery and admire the Rockies and the snow upon them and the lakes and the gardens and the parks and the cities down below. Caught his fancy. So he got a friend and they went to an airport and hired a taxi and flew up. So the man at the airport said, the weather doesn't seem to be very encouraging. But he said, oh, that doesn't matter. He didn't know about Swami. And he was flying 45 minutes, acme of happiness. Then the clouds began to gather. It became dark, a storm, rain, snow. He says, he will say, if you ask him once again, that his plain little thing was tossed about as a paper boat upon the waves. And its radio communication system failed, and by rising up and coming down, it affected their blood pressure, and the man who was sitting behind, he called him, and there was no response. He didn't know what had happened to him. He couldn't communicate with people down below, and the petrol was available only for 10 minutes more, and he didn't know where to land. And then he said, oh God, he needed Swami. Swami must have heard the call. God! Hey, someone is calling me. He didn't know about Swami. He only said, oh God. And he says, aircraft in distress somebody called, aircraft in distress. I will give you the directions. Follow my instructions. And then he used to get instructions. Right, left, slow, up, down, brake. And he came down on a patch of open space. Now he had got up in the morning, and then as soon as he landed, the petrol was over, and the man they got down. Then it was snowing. And they had their morning, when there was a clear blue sky, they didn't have much of warm clothing. And they were shivering. And they wanted to get into some place where they can get something hot. And then they found some windows gleaming. So they marched towards that. And it was Indra Devi's place. As soon as they entered, they found a huge picture of Swami. And rather curiously they looked at it. How did this guy come here? Looks like an Indian guy. They said. That was the entrance porch. When they saw Swami, he was there to receive them. The person who had said, aircraft in distress, you call out for him 20,000 feet above the earth, he is there. And when you get into some house which you do not know to whom it belongs, he is there, waiting to receive you. The picture is there, life size. Indian guy. No one was there in the porch. Got into the hall. No one was there. They were all engaged in bhajan inside. And then just one step more, they hear bhajans. And they go in. And Indra Devi tells him, oh, it is Sai Baba that has saved you. So, you need me. If you need me, you deserve me. So here is a person who needed. That was 20,000 feet above the ground. 800 feet below the ground. There was an old man, a friend of mine. Actually, a friend of mine in Karnataka. He told me what happened to him. He had heard one folk song. Somebody sang in front of his house, some beggar. And we have got a folk song in Karnataka. Manavanagi hutted mele yene kandi. After having been born as man, what are the things that you have seen? Sayok munche nodve pomme jogat undi. Even before you die, you must see at least once the jog falls. You've got a huge 800 feet drop waterfall in the Western Ghats. And this song was about that. And one fellow came before his door and sang, what have you seen, having been born as man? Unless you see the jog falls, your life is a waste. And my friend got up and said, what is that? Where is that jog falls? And he gave him the address. And he said, I am alive, I am a man, so I must see jog falls. So he proceeded there. And 800 feet sheer drop. And you have got to go down the steps just to be right down below. And then you must watch the cascade falling. It's a beautiful thing. Of course, I have seen it, so that my life is worthwhile. But it is not sure. You see, the joke falls are a beautiful thing because you got four different, it breaks into four different falls. And one rolls over the rocks. It's simply the bubbles and the cloth. It's something like a silk cloth being drawn over the rocks. A tiny pit. Another sheer fall. Another a huge semicircle falling with a perpetual rainbow throughout the way. So it is a beautiful thing. And this man went down. There were many other tourists also there. And they all came down and he was simply lost in admiration. Must have been a poet in his heart, though not on the tongue. Watched and watched and watched and watched the glory of God. Swami says the universe is your university. So he was imbibing the lesson that the waterfall was teaching him, that the cascade was teaching him. The roar of that thing is called the roarer, the straight fall. And he didn't know that it had already become dusk, dark, and that he was alone. All the rest had gone. And he didn't even remember that he was old. He was 78. And his knees were telling him, you are 78. For having climbed down. Now the prospect of getting up with these knees, with that burden of that age, all the joy of poetry went out. Anxiety started. To spend the night in that cold background, away from everywhere, 800 feet down below. Didn't know about Swami also. Of course he knew about God. Someone had told him. So he cried out, God. The trucker called out God 20,000 feet above the ground. This man called out for God 800 feet down below. God, what has happened to me? I shouldn't have obeyed that folk song fellow. He said, before you die, you must see joke form. Now my coming is an invitation for that. Anyway, he cried out, God. And what happened? He could see a little boy, about 10, 11, coming down the steps. They were not nicely cut steps, just on the earth. The ground was cut into irregular rough. And if you want to get down 800 feet, you got about 1,000 steps. They found a boy tripping down, shouting, Tata, Tata, Tata. Tata is the appellation with which my grandchildren call me. So it is grandfather. He had become the grandfather. Suddenly, of a child, somewhere. I was struck by his call, Tata, so familiar to his ears. Because in his own home, he had grandchildren calling affectionately and climbing on to his lap, saying Tata. So sweetly, the cry came, Tata, Tata, Tata. Came near me. How could this boy, alone, solitary chap, come there in the night and call you? And he said, Patko, hold on to this. And the boy had a stick, green, because he seems to have plucked it out of a branch of some tree that was right on top, just for the occasion of helping this man to hold on to. So Patko, hold on to this. Hold on to a little twig, held by a little brat. A 10-year-old boy and a feeble green twig to pull a man up 1,000 steps, a man of 78 with half a dozen grandchildren like that boy. But he did the trick. He held on to it. And then that man, my friend says, he came to Swami later. He said, he was hauled up. It was difficulty, he was climbing. But it was so easy. And he found himself right on top. And then he thought, fine boy, must give him something sweet. Where is the nearest hotel? And the boy had given it to me. And when he came here, somebody told him, you were helped like that? Must be, we know who has done it. We know the person. Sathya Sai Baba. Huh? Sai Baba. And then he knew that I am here. So he said, that Sai Baba who has taken away our Kasturi. Because I am supposed to be lost to my old associations. Because Sai Baba has kidnapped me. He knew about my college career and all that, so many of my old college friends for a long time used to believe that I was lost, that I escaped the mental hospital. Yeah. So he also thought, oh, Sai Baba with whom Kasturi is there? Oh, then I know him, I'll go. He came here, and Swami warned him against doing mischievous things at the age of 78. So, point is, Swami saying, if you need me, you deserve me. You need not be good enough as this person drives. That's how this question came. I was not sure if I was good enough to visit the place and meet Baba. Somehow my prayers were heard, and I was there with this group. During our stay in Puttaparthi, we had one interview. Swami has said, I will call all those who are ready to Puttaparthi. And there are different levels of readiness. All those who are ready, I will call. But there are different levels of readiness. So this person was ready for an interview, not only for coming and sitting in the darshan line and moping there and hoping, but also for being called and given an interview. All right. And twice he materialized Vibhuti for me. I was on top of the world. Who wouldn't be? Who wouldn't be? And then, when I read on page 205 of Sanatana Sarathi for August 1984, it was the speech in which Swami said, there are three things which I am resolved upon, which I assure you. One of them is, once Swami has accepted a devotee as you are mine, he will not abandon him whatever happens. That's one thing. Another, once I have decided upon a project, it must take place. And three, I will not show my hand to receive something. I will only give. These three are, he said. And we put it together. And it went to her, went to this person. And then she said, so, this person has not heard what I told you. Assurance and then churning. That you do not know. So, once Swami has accepted, what does he mean by this statement? He wants me to clarify. How does he know that Swami has accepted them? Do I have any right to believe that he has accepted me? Now, if I say you are mine, I won't leave you. That's what Swami says. Said that day. But when will he say you are mine? I can tell you another assurance of Swami. Swami has said, another occasion, I have no name. You can call me by any name. You can call me by that very, you can call me God. Though of course God is a very cheap word. Why God? You see. My God. God. We use it so cheaply. God knows. You see, if you don't know. If you don't know anything, you excuse yourself by saying, God knows. As if he is a kind of dictionary which God has got to be an ADC, God has got to find out things for you. For everything, God. A cheap name. You can call him God. Now Swami says, I have no particular name. Call me by any name. I will respond. And he also says, but what is he want to refer to Swami? There are some children who are brought here to be named by Swami. They are about 4 years, 5 years. They are waiting for Swami to name. But that doesn't mean that they have not got a name. You have got to use something. You have got to say the big one, or the first one, or the second one, or the fat one, or the dull one. Until Swami gives a name, you have to describe it, or the sick one, or the tall one, the short one. You got to call him tall one or short one. So how are you going to refer to Swami? If you can't use the name, he has got all names. Swami has said, you can refer to me like this. Navadu, mind, mind. Mind, Swami, mind. Then Swami will say, thine. If you say, I am yours, he will say, you are mine. So here, this person asks, Swami has accepted a devotee as you are mine. When will Swami accept a devotee as you are mine? When you accept him as I am yours. That's what Swami has said. That is the echo that will come. Usually the echo, if you go before a mountain or precipice or cliff and say, I am yours, then the echo will be, I am yours. Or it may be yours. Or it may be, I am yours, I am yours, I am yours. But in this case, Swami says, the echo will be, if you say, I am yours, the echo will be, you are mine. So, if you want to know, how do I know that he has accepted me? Well, you can easily know. Had you said, simply by the tongue, when you felt that you are his, then he will accept as you are mine. And then whatever happens to you, he will take it. So the point is, surrender. I am yours. Your will, not mine. If you draw me near, all right. You push me aside, all right. I know it is for churning and for getting the butter which you like most. So whatever happens, I am yours. I am yours. I am yours. That is the answer to the question which this person has asked me. He has asked me to write to him. How do I know that Swami has said, you are